Hello, 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 guys. How are you doing today? Hopefully, everything is good to go. Hopefully, you are doing well and that you can hear me. My name is Kim Douglas, and I'm coming to you from Prosperous Property Investments. Just coming to share a couple prosperity points with you, help you out a little bit in your life, help you out in a little in your business. Oh, I got tongue tied right there. Today, this tip is going to be a real estate tip, and I'm just going to call it a PPI REI tip. So, a prosperous property investments real estate investing tip. That was a mouthful. So, let me share this to my friends really quick, get some people on this live stream, and then we will have a conversation about the top 10 landlording hacks that you really need to know. Okay? So, great. Let me fix this a little bit. Alrighty. So, let me share this really quickly, and then we will get to talking about it. So let me know as you're coming in, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know how your day is going. Let me know how you're feeling. And hopefully everything in your world is fabulous as it is in mine. So yes, like I said, let me know how you're feeling, how you're doing. Okay, I see myself here on my phone and I'm going to share this post just with a couple friends, and we'll get this started in about a minute or two, right? Alrighty. So like I said, as you're coming in, go ahead and let me know how you're feeling. Hopefully the weather is going just as great for you as it is for me. And I'm just sharing this in a group or two, and then I'm going to get this started in just a minute. Share it once. Let me share it one more time. Get this thing going. Like I said, don't be shy. Give me an introduction. Let me know who you are. Let me know how you're feeling today. Like I said, hopefully you're having a beautiful and wonderful day. We're talking about 10 landlording hacks. I'm just sharing this really quickly in another group as we get some more people coming in, and then we'll get this party started. Yes, yes, yes. Alrighty, I got it in two groups, and it looks like we are good to go. Great. Okay, so like I said, today's topic is going to be 10 landlording hacks that you need to know, right? If you're renting out new properties, just a couple tips to help you out with that, make things go smoothly, right? So I got some notes and I'm going to hit some points. So here we go. So point number one is going to be if you've inherited a tenant. So say you're buying a property that already has a tenant in place, and your tenant is being difficult and they don't want to give you a key. What do you do? So, let me back up a little bit. I actually got these tips from Bigger Pockets post, from a Bigger Pockets post on YouTube, and the video was called 10 Not So Obvious Tips for REI Success. So that's where I got it from, and this is where you can reference more of that information, right? So back to that, tip number one with the tenant that you inherited that won't give you a key now all of a sudden. So she said one big thing to do is to make sure that before you close on the property, you get the key and you verify that the key works, right? If you didn't do that, she said as a fail-safe, what you can do is you can just inform your tenant in writing that you will be having the lock rekeyed. Call up a locksmith, have it rekeyed, and you can buy one of those little lock boxes from Lowe's or Home Depot, something like that, and then just put the new key in there for the tenant and then give them instructions as to how they can reopen it and get the new key for the property. And then she said also, if your tenant is being difficult right off top, they said it's a good idea to maybe possibly consider not renewing their lease. So the second tip is going to be, you got your tenants in place. They want to install some cable. They want to see what's going on. They want to put some more things in the property that didn't come with the property, right? So what do? One big thing that you can do is you can, in your lease agreement, just tell them, okay, what services are already in place. Tell them specifically what alterations they're allowed to do to the property and what they are not. The big thing is the satellite dish. People want to install that satellite dish on the porch, on the roof, and it can cause damage to the property. So what you want to do is, like I said, just let them know up front what's allowed, what's not allowed, and then also tell them that, hey, if you alter the property without my written consent, that you're at risk for losing your security deposit. So just hit on that point, and they'll usually kind of steer away from, doing that to the property. The third tip is now your tenant's getting angry for whatever reason, who knows? They're getting upset, they're getting a little bit irate, so they want to say, I want to get a lawsuit. I'm going to sue. So what do you do when you hear that? Irate tenant for whatever reason, who knows why, right? So what you're going to tell them is that you will no longer communicate with them verbally. You will no longer communicate with them verbally, and that you will only communicate with their attorney. So if that comes to that, usually this kind of language would stop whatever problems they're trying to cause, and just let them know, like, look, I can't talk to you verbally anymore. I need to speak to your attorney. And that usually will kind of stop the problem, Number 4, late rent. You got to deal with this per your, your state, your city, your county, whatever, ordinances are in place. But she said with late rent, make sure you have it specific and clear in your lease that any fees or, any outstanding balances, that the money that they pay, it will be applied to that first, and not to the rent. So that it will always be applied to any outstanding bills or fees before it is applied to the rent, So just let them know that up front. Number 5, move out checklist. She said, be very detailed. Usually these are pretty brief. Like, you want the property clean. She said, be very specific, be very clear as to what you expect the property to look like in order for someone to actually be able to get their security deposit back. So if you want all the windows to be, clean and free of debris and dirt in the window track, you need to be that specific. If you want no stains in the toilet, or if you want the ceilings and the corners to be free of cobwebs, you need to be super, super specific so that people know that when you're deducting, out of their security deposit, they know exactly why. So you have given them basically the same checklist that you're going to use when they move out. Say, these are the things I'm going to check when you move out, and this is how I need them to be. And it's that in that condition, they need to verify that it's in that condition as well when they move in, upon move in, right? Okay, so the security deposit, right? So always, 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 don't give an amount. You shoot yourself in the foot, because they're going to say, how much of my security deposit am I giving back? You should not give an amount. Don't give an amount. Just say, you know what, I've got to review, the property inspection checklist, but then just tell them and then whatever your state laws are, I am required to forward it to you by mail, within a certain amount of days. So just tell them that. Like I said, don't give them a specific amount as to how much their security deposit should be back, because you really have to, like I said, review that and make sure that they left the property in a clean state. So, right? So don't shoot yourself in the foot with that. The 7th step is going to be multiple tenants. I know we've all had a kind of roommate situation, multiple tenants in the property, So what you tell them when they move in and when they're screening is that every tenant has to be able to afford the rent by themselves. So even if you're moving into a, multiple person or roommate situation, if you are going to occupy this property, then you need to have the income and the ability to afford this place by yourself. And here's why. We all know that, friends are friends until they move in together, right? So when someone moves out, you need to know that you as a tenant are responsible for the whole rent. And she said one thing to that is that you don't want to get caught up in a situation where you have partial rent paid. So say you got 3 tenants, they're all going to pay a third. You can be causing problems for yourself in the event that you actually have to evict someone, So you only need to take one check for that property, all the tenants, one check. All paid at the same time, no partial rent, right? Another thing with filling out your lease agreement, standard lease agreement probably has maybe 1 or 2 spaces for emergency contacts. She said a big thing is to add an addendum page. You know, this is for all my landlords out there, is to add an addendum page with more contacts. And there's a reason why. So if somebody decides to, you know, dip out on you, now you not only have one number, but you might have 5 or 6 numbers that you can call and try to find this person to recoup your money for any damages, any rent not paid. And she said that's also good if you have multiple contacts, then you won't necessarily, I mean, it's in your favor that you won't necessarily have to go through a collection agency, you know, if you have multiple ways of trying to find this person. But even if not, and you still even have having to come out of pocket and going through the collection agency, they have multiple ways of tracking this person down. So cover yourself, cover your property. You got to do what you got to do, right? So that was number 8. Eviction notice. She said make sure that is clear. You know, you have to put the person's name that you know of, but say there's other people in the property and you don't know their names. So she said put whoever's name is on the lease and then put et al, meaning basically this encompasses all who are in the property and who should not be there. So make sure you put that language in there as well too. She said for the 10th step is tenant notification, right? So say you have properties here and there and you're checking up on them or whatever you're doing. She said keep a briefcase in your car with your documents that you normally would need, right? So you're not having to run back to your office or try to find somewhere to print out a document really quick if you drive past a property and you see that they're obviously violating some rule or some portion of the lease, you know. So to save yourself time, she said always just carry a couple of those documents with you, so that way you can just drop it off, sign it, date it, do what is necessary to do. She also did give a bonus tip, and she said that this was to do a lease renewal inspection. And this is all something you can just put in there in the lease to let them know that you will be doing this. So she said that 2 weeks prior to the lease expiring, you do an inspection. You go in there, you check out the property, you make sure they're not trashing it, and then also you put a clause in there that if they are not, you know, there we go. It paused on me. I don't know what happened. Okay, so the bonus tip is that you're going to put that lease renewal inspection in there. So basically that gives you the permission to come 2 weeks before the lease is up and just come and look at the property, make sure everything is copacetic, make sure they're not tearing up the property. If they are and they're not keeping the property in a manner in which you agree with, then you can just agree not to renew their lease and they can sign that as a clause in the lease. Also, I've heard of other investors just putting in a lease that they're going to do like, you know, a seasonal, like, you know, every 3 months or even every 6 months inspection. So that way, you know, even if it's not at the year mark, that you catch it before they even get to the year mark, before they can do a lot of damage to your property. So those are the tips I have for you, just a couple landlording tips just to help you out. Just want to let you know, if you are looking for any more great deals, any more properties to add to your rental portfolio, I want you to click the link in the description box above for more details and more information on how you can get added to our VIP buyers list. Just want to say, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for liking, sharing, and commenting. And I want you guys to have a prosperous day and or night on purpose. Take care. Bye.